For those of you that have never met me, my name is Bella Bablumian. I am the founder of the Embodied Institute, and the Institute is dedicated to pleasurable wellness and to finding what it means to be the real you from within. So what I mean by pleasurable wellness is really, being well, vibrant, but really enjoying every moment of it. And my trajectory, I want to share with you guys just a couple of things about me so you'll understand why I'm so passionate about this and in which ways I'm going to help you develop the new you, because it's something that, I've dropped all other professions and things that I was doing to really dedicate my life to this, because I really believe that people can live a really fulfilling, really vibrant and really exciting life while enjoying full health, well-being, mental and physical, enjoying themselves. It is possible. Sometimes we live in this world where we think that it's all about struggling and, the difficulties, but I really want to help you guys really find what it means to be the new you that's enjoying life fully. So my trajectory, very briefly, I come from the ex-Soviet Armenia, and from the post-Soviet war-ridden country where things were not going well, and that's one of the things that really helped me understand how really envisioning a different future for yourself is possible. You don't have to accept what's happening around you and just stay there. It's you can become the protagonist of your own life and decide that you don't want certain things for yourself, independent of what's happening. From Armenia, my family moved to Russia and then to the United States, where I lived for 15 years, both in the East Coast and the West Coast. And I really ended up studying a lot of different disciplines that I'm really excited to share all of those with you, but in simplified ways. I've studied, everything from psychology as an undergrad to international public health. And within that, I've done a lot of projects with behavioral change at populational levels. But then on the side, I also studied individual health, so nutrition, fitness, and how to really help people, enjoy their bodies and really create the physical health that they want. But to be honest with you, none of the fields that I studied were really satisfactory to me. I found, the health industry so heavy and so, like the concept of health has become so loaded in our society that I really wanted to create and bring forth a different concept, a much more light concept of that being healthy doesn't have to be about, suffering and having to, and, and the same thing with wellness. Wellness is a bit more, it's a bit better in our society, but it's still sometimes about, seeking products outside of yourself. And I found to be much more important to know yourself and, maybe apply a couple of tools here and there, but it really has to come from within. And more recently, I moved in about 10 years ago, I moved to Brazil, which was a really, really important aspect of, what I've developed has come from Brazil. And this way of, if you are from Rio or you lived in Rio, you can relate to that. It's just ability to live in the moment and really enjoy every moment of it, independent of, what's happening around you. And this country has a lot of problems, but people really know how to enjoy life. So that was like kind of the final concept that I brought to the Embody Wellness Institute. And for the last 3 years, I've been bringing, through the Institute, I've been bringing a lot of different self-development, healthy living, sexuality to nutrition and meditation, you name it, courses that can really help you not get addicted to a new kind of, thing that you need to be doing, but really to get to know yourself better and to use whatever tool that you need in a certain moment. So really, you know, being happy, healthy, well, is not about not having problems. It's about having them and knowing how to shift your mindset really quickly and apply a certain tool to your life and really, you know, create that resilience about yourself. So without, you know, many more introductions, we'll jump into the program. So that's why I'm so excited about the New You program. So the New You program combines these two different areas that I really want to share with you guys, right? So one is being healthy, being well in your body, following your body's flow. I've developed a method called the Sensefulness Method, right? So it's about reconnecting to the natural mechanisms that are operating at the core of who we are as human beings, right? We're created with a certain design, and by living in the wilderness, we've developed mechanisms that, even though we've advanced very much, these mechanisms are very much alive and operating. And even though we think of ourselves very, you know, as highly advanced human beings, 85% of the day we go around in autopilot or, you know, in habitual ways, and they're guided by our unconscious part of the brain. And if we can tap into this mechanism and understand how it works, how our body works, then we can really flow with it instead of constantly struggling with it. And that's what I see a lot of people doing is, you know, because we guide ourselves by external knowledge and external tools, we oftentimes doubt ourselves and doubt our bodies and doubt what we feel. So I really am going to help you really connect to your body wisdom, and not the aesthetic body. I'm talking about the actual, you know, the sensorial, your sensorial language, the cellular intelligence, the pains that you might be feeling. I talk about pleasurable ones, but there's obviously, to get to pleasure, you have to move from pain to pleasure, right? So it's really about, but in order to do that, you have to embrace and understand what your pain is telling you. Why is it that you have discomfort in your body? What is it bringing you? Listen to it, right? And so that's one part. That's the health, vibrant living, and pleasurable wellness. And if that wasn't enough, we're going to talk about change as well. So change is something that, you know, I haven't studied it, but change is something that has been part of my life. And I've, you know, moved from country to country. I've changed at least 3 professions. So change is kind of where I thrive the most. And I feel like a lot of people struggle with change, and they see it as something really, really challenging. So I wanted to also give the tools to help you see that change can be about redefining who you are. It's almost like a trampoline, you know, come to a point in your life and you're like, uh-oh, things are not working in the way that I wanted them to work. Like we're in one of those phases right now. I think for a lot of people, the pandemic has really lifted and brought to the surface things that are not working for you anymore. Maybe you're dissatisfied with the way you're taking care of your body, your health isn't well, maybe your relationships are suffering, maybe it's your professional life and you don't feel the purpose, maybe you're unhappy and you don't know what the purpose, what the reason is. But the point is that oftentimes when we reach these points where we know that things are not working for us really well, that's where the magic can happen, because we can really allow ourselves to turn from the caterpillar to the butterfly. But we really need to allow ourselves to embrace this transformation, embrace change. And that's something that we're going to talk about a lot. So I want to share with you the 5 steps that we're going to go through. And these are, I've really found them to be a really powerful way. I've worked with individuals in right, like in the last couple of months. This is something new I've been doing, but it's been really showing me that this method is really something that's working really well. So first of all, we're going to look at, so here's the old you, right? And here's the new you, correct? So with the old you, what defines the old you? It's in your mind, obviously, right? It's the mindset. It's what you think you are, and maybe that comes from your past, from what your parents told you could do, you couldn't do, the way that your society defined things for you. I work with people from a lot of different cultures, and so in some cultures, it's women are allowed to be independent. In others, it's really looked down upon. So what were you told as a young one in the first 7 years of your life, what you could and couldn't do? A lot of times those concepts really get stuck in our mind and really define where our limits are in our present life. They control us in a very subconscious way. So we're going to really identify those limitations and understand where they come from and how they're limiting us. But aside from what defines that, your mindset that defines that old you, there are also the daily habits, right? So the way that you're living your life on a day-to-day basis also defines who you are as the old self, right? And the mindset and the body, they're tightly, overlap in that. So if you think you are, some people say like, oh, I'm just like, I just have such a difficult time exercising. I'm just a lazy kind of person. Or, oh, like my whole family is overweight, so I have this issue. Or maybe, I'm not really an outdoors type of. Anyways, you define certain concepts about, right, in your mind, but you also live your day-to-day in those specific ways. So you end up, your habits end up mimicking how you think about yourself, right? And as someone that's worked with nutrition, physical fitness, and more recently with sexuality, we're really going to unpack like small things, how you eat, what type of nutrition, what type of nourishment you give your body, because that's really the foundation. Some of the foods are associated to who you are. So for example, if you were rewarded for being a good girl as by your mom by receiving a cake, you associate that cake to being that good girl. So we're going to identify those small things and say, okay, maybe we can substitute this cake with something much more powerful that can really show you that, you don't have to stick to those habits that that are not necessary for you anymore, and create new ones, or integrate, new things into that. So instead of the cake, you might say, well, maybe something, what satisfies me and what gives me the sensation of being a powerful woman. What do I need to do? So maybe it's maybe you end up going, buying something that's like a beautiful dress, and rewarding yourself in that way. Or maybe you do something very intrinsically pleasurable, and you spend some creative time with yourself, and you write a song, or you spend some time with yourself and you go and take a bubble bath, right? So we will shift habits from what you used to do to what you want to do, not only to kind of create that mindset shift, but also to incorporate new, healthier habits into your day-to-day. So that's what's going to lead us to the second phase, which is going to be about, well, what do I think of myself as this type of person, but what if I could become a different person? And we're going to define what that's going to be by you really deciding for yourself. Like, if it wasn't for your parents, if it wasn't for the society you're living in, what would you like to be? And that could be as outrageous and as wild as you'd like it to be. And we're going to define it very clearly. And then we're really going to design a new day or new daily habits around that, self-care routines and healthy living habits around that new you. Because then the change is not only in your mind. So if you go to a psychologist and shift your mindset, you will make some changes. If you go to a nutritionist and make your dietary changes, you might make the changes in your diet. But it's always really easy for us to slip back into the old ways, right? So, for example, if you're a smoker, we all know that quitting smoking really requires for us to change our environment, right? Because if you see the people that smoke, or if you associate, let's say, that coffee with the, or the drink with the smoke, you're gonna, by drinking, you're gonna be, we call it to smoke again. So we're gonna do this in the smallest of our habits. So if you have a habit of, waking up in the morning and procrastinating and not exercising, and just being on your social media for an hour, we're going to take that habit and we're going to try to see what triggers it. What is that, the sensation, that what are you trying to fulfill with this behavior? Because there's always something. We're going to really analyze your emotions. What is the vacuum that you're feeling, or the vazio, right? The emptiness that you're feeling, that calls you to be on social media for an hour, or eat something unhealthy, or whatever your unhealthy habit is. And then we're going to experiment with different new habits to substitute and put in place of that old habit. So that's kind of the overall structure. Let me just check here. If anyone has any questions, you can either post them on the Facebook, or
Good evening, everyone.
Sorry. Or you can unmute yourself and ask questions. But that's kind of the general structure of the program. And let me see, I had prepared. Oh yeah. So I wanted to also guide you through something right now, before we go into the second part, which kind of will go into a bit more details. But before that, sorry, I forgot to mention how the actual format of the program will work, right? That's important. So we'll be meeting, and depending on where we get people from, so we have one more week until the final sign-up date, which is going to be next Monday, as this is the intro. We'll be meeting in small groups, and I want to call them support groups, because I'm not going to be just like lecturing you. We're really going to be learning together. I'm going through a lot of transformations too, so it's really about supporting each other. Obviously, I'll share a lot of tools with you and a lot of the knowledge, and but it'll be very practical. So we'll be meeting in the small groups on Mondays, and depending on where people come from, we'll be defining the exact hour. That's why I haven't set the hour, because we might have people from Europe, and we have to do it a little earlier. So we'll decide that. It'll be an hour-and-a-half meeting. That's also recorded, so in case you can't participate, you can always watch it, but it's always best to be part of it. And then from that Monday to the next Monday, I'll be sending you, or giving you at the end of the class, some kind of a homework. So the homeworks will either consist of, let's say the first one will be, really identifying what are some of the things that you want to leave behind? What are some of the qualities that you don't want to identify with as the new you? What are some of the sensations in your body that you're tired of feeling all the time? What are, so that's going to be, I'm going to send you a really, we have this beautiful visual, a circle that I've created, where you can put, this is the kind of like what is me right now, and what's outside of the circle. So what I feel like is out of my reach. So I'm gonna send you that, and you're gonna fill it out, and you're gonna ponder that during the week, and then we'll discuss it the next week. Homeworks might include also guided meditations or guided activities. So, eating with mindfulness and really savoring every bite of your food. So it will just really vary based on what we'll be talking about. And aside from that, we'll have a group to chat about the issues, bring up some of the specific issues that you're dealing with, so we can help you through those, to get through those. Because a lot of times we think that, I'm the only one who's struggling with this problem. And then we see that a lot of people are struggling with that. And then things really it changes your perspective, really, to see that other people are going through the same thing, especially in the pandemic. I think a lot of people have gotten, we've all gotten so separated from one another that, and of course it's been a really difficult time, but a lot of us think that we have to suffer in isolation. And that's one of the things I want to make sure we avoid doing. We just come together and create this beautiful new world together. So that's the structure of the program. The tools, again, for those of you that have done my programs might know, but so there'll be behavioral change, there'll be pleasurable wellness and sensefulness method, which is really going to be about getting deep into your body and allowing it to speak to you. So it's a bit like intuition, but it's much more about listening to your senses, reactivating your body, feeling with it, and becoming more sensuous, but not in a sexual way, in a way to almost like navigate through life through your body. Because the body, you know, I think the body has been really put down a lot, right? We don't think about it this way but the body is the only one that's in the present moment, right? Our mind is like over here thinking worried about the future, or, you know, like, oh my God, I should have done that, thinking about the past, right? And our spirit is, you know, floats around, and sometimes we're connected to it, sometimes we're not. But the body is here and now in the present moment. And if we allow ourselves to anchor in it and really reconnect with this natural way, it allows us to really become present. And that's the first step to everything. First step to really understanding, like, what is it that I really want from my life? A lot of times that's the question that really sits as the barrier to you discovering what you want. Sometimes people don't know what they want, and it's because they think they want something, but that was something that was defined for them. And when they get there, you know, like, I get a doctorate degree in something because your parents wanted you to do it, and you get there and you're like, that didn't feel satisfying at all. That's not what I wanted. So it's really about delving deep inside and seeing, like, what are my deepest desires? And sometimes they're scary, sometimes they're something completely different from what you thought you wanted, but we have to face those. And it doesn't mean, you know, dropping everything and changing everything immediately, but it's about honoring our inner yearnings, desires, and eventually it'll bring us to our path. I really believe that there's this really clear direction from connecting to the body, allowing it to speak, and first it brings you wellness and health and vibrant health, and eventually it also guides you to your life's purpose too, because it's located in the same place. It's like this perception, right? It's like you really connect to this perception, and it allows you to really just say no to everything external and all the distractions and what we've been told and all the negative information that we're receiving, and really anchoring in yourself. So that's we're going to be learning about a lot. So why don't we take 5 minutes right now, and I want to show you what it's like. Very introductory level connection to the body and its senses, and I wanted to, if you have a piece of paper and pen around you, then have it ready. If not, just you can think about it, because at the end of this short practice I'll be asking you a question. So let me just see here. Okay. So let's sit in a comfortable position. Close your eyes. Make some movements to really accommodate yourself on the chair or on the bed, wherever you're sitting, or you might be laying down. Just really make a couple of just moves to see where it feels most comfortable. And then put your hands on your lower belly, and really take really deep belly breaths. I know you probably have heard of deep breathing, but we're going to try to go as low as possible, and try not to move your chest area at all. Some of us have come to only breathe with our chest area, which is very limiting. So we're going to really try to go deep. And if you can't feel the belly rising and falling, then you're not doing it right. So it really needs to like go as far out as possible, like the, you know, the belly of a baby. So let's go through our nose, inhaling. Feel the belly with fresh air. You can also envision the air in a certain color. It can be, you know, baby blue or crystal clear or sparkling. Imagine it as you would like golden colors, and imagine it sipping through your nose and deep down into your belly. And almost feel it tickling you inside, you know, just feel it going into all the different crevices and your organs and really bringing you life energy. And then as you breathe out, I prefer if you breathe out with your mouth making a sound, but if you feel more comfortable breathing out with your nose, that's okay too. But one of the reasons I like to bring in sound is it expresses a certain emotion that you might be carrying. So really go with what comes naturally. So it might be a hissing sound. It might be a sigh. It might be a tone, like a humming tone. So you see how it's going to work. So let's now actually do it without me interrupting the flow. Breathe in and feel the fresh air going in, recharging your whole body, and hold it in for a couple of seconds and breathe out and feel the stagnated old air coming out of your mouth and nose. Imagine the color that you would like. Breathe in again with your belly, just moving the life energy inside your body, allowing it to go to the places that you most, where you most need them to activate the energy. And breathe out and really allow that old air that's holding some of your negative emotions, maybe, or pains or something that you don't want to hold on to anymore, out of your nose. And one more time. Hold it and out. And now continue breathing with your lower belly without having to make any sounds, and try to envision your inner self. Really envision what's happening inside of your body. Whether you want to see how your organs are doing inside, or you want to visualize your cells vibrating and circulating of the prana or the life energy that's going through your veins. Whatever you envision, just see this inner part of you really alive and moving and in constant change and in regeneration. And you might see some of the old stagnated parts of you wanting to really ready to really get out of your body. So allow them to either go through the floor, through where you're sitting, through the base of the chair into the earth, or you can also allow it to come out of your nose, whatever is easiest for you to visualize. And now try to really connect to those areas of you that are feeling uncomfortable. Maybe you're feeling an actual physical pain, or an uncomfortable sensation inside of your body, feeling of sadness, anxiety, or just something that you don't know how to define. Just really connect to the sensations and go to that place. Visualize what it looks like and just really look it in the eye. I know it doesn't have eyes, but just try to see yourself going to that place. It might be dark and kind of, you know, not a pleasant sight to look at, but really try to look and see what is it that's hiding in that place that where you're uncomfortable. And try to ask it, what do you need? What is this sensation that you're sending me is communicating to me? What can I offer you? What have I neglected? And allow that part of your body to speak to you. You might hear actual words, take note of them. You might feel some sensations, some emotion come up, colors, whatever it is, everything is valid. It's your body's way of speaking to you. So allow whatever comes up to come up, and allow that part of the body to really give you everything it needs to give you in this moment, as uncomfortable as it may be. And then, if you can see yourself doing this, just give it, this part of your body, a hug, or send it some positive energy, or just thank it for giving you this information. And then take whatever it communicated to you and take note of that, and come back to your body in general. See if it feels any different. See if that part of your body feels any different in relation to the rest of your body. Take a couple of more deep breaths. Blow that last part of the old stagnated energy out. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So this is one of the very small practices that are really about reconnecting to your body and allowing it to speak to you. At first, you might not get any messages. At first, it might seem really strange and just kind of like, like, what am I doing? But the language of our body and the imagination are actually very interconnected. So whatever you envision when you close your eyes and connect to your body is very valid and it's very real. So it's really about trusting what you hear and trusting the sensations, taking note of them. They might not immediately make sense to you, but write them down and allow them to sort of sit there. It's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever done after having some strange, bizarre dreams, writing them down, and you might not understand what it means in the moment, but then later it makes sense. So just stay with that, with this information. And after being more centered and connected to the body is when we'll have some kind of a centering practice like this in every class. And then we'll set our intention for the class. So today's intention, and we'll go over this again in the first class, but already start thinking about what is it that I want to let go of in my life? What is it that doesn't serve me anymore? what is it that's not working for me anymore? And it can be anything from your physical sensations, your physical pains, way of being. It might be a relationship that you're tired of, might be a relationship to yourself. So whatever comes up, just write it down. I really recommend you do like a little, get a notebook already if you're, if you're going to be really like, the more you put into this, the more you'll get out of this kind of thing, right? So really take time to think about these things and journal. And I love the type of journaling where you just don't allow your judgment to come in. You just allow yourself to write. And this is really good after doing some kind of a body connection practice. So that's going to be the intention setting. And then I'll leave you with a couple of 2 or 3 practices right now so that you can already start connecting to this way of being that's really different from this pleasurable way of being, right? The connected way of being. I don't know if you've done any of my programs, but I always talk about the 3 pillars. So nourish your body, move your body, and feel your body. So I'll give you one of each, and you can already start incorporating those in your day-to-day. And the key here is, and we'll be adding this as we go, but the key here is every time you do this new practice, it's really important that you see yourself as this new person, even though we haven't defined what this new person is, but really try to make this distinction. When I do this act of self-care, this is me kind of shifting timelines. This is me really, we're going to create these new habits as anchors, right? So they're going to really serve us as this strong pulls for us to move to the new us, right? The new you. So one of the practices that we're going to do is related to nourishing yourself. And think about where you receive your first nourishment from. Most of the time from your mother, from the breast, right? If you were breastfed. And what type of nourishment is it? Is it just about the food? No, right? It's very much about this connection to the caring of your mom, right? This warmth of her body and feeling protected, right? So in a way, I want you to start thinking about nourishment, not eating and dieting and all of those concepts, but really nourishment as a way of really becoming your own caregiver, right? Really giving yourself both pleasure, because it's a very pleasurable, if you ask a baby, breastfeeding, it's very pleasurable. Both the mom and the baby, they get this surge of feel-good hormones, right, as they're breastfeeding. So this is, and so do we, when we eat, a lot of times when we, especially when we gorge on a lot of the, sweet foods, we get a surge of feel-good hormones. But instead of, eating the unhealthy foods, we're going to create this association of nurturing and giving ourselves the care with simple foods and with foods that make us, that give us health. And eventually it'll create this association in our brain that, wait, so that glass of water that I'm drinking is actually very good for me. And it will give you this sensation of like, oh my God, it's giving me, and you will feel the pleasure. Okay. So it can be anything from, so if you don't drink water in the morning, it can be a glass of water with a drop of lemon, and maybe turmeric or a bit of mint, anything to really just give it life, this feeling of like, so there's something live in there. And this is really good to do in the morning on your empty stomach. and put it in a nice glass and really allow yourself to savor every sip of it in a way as if that water were going into your body to heal you and to really create this shift and change. Because think about this, and this is not some kind of a magical or like, you know, esoteric ritual. This is actually real science telling us now that we're composed of, you know, we're composed of 70% of water, and water is in constant change. And our intentions and our thoughts really affect the water. I don't know if you've seen these really cool experiments where this amazing Japanese doctor who says positive intentions to a glass of a jar where he's making snowflakes, and to another one he says like some negative things, and it's beautiful because the one that he recites like really beautiful or like music or really nice words like I love you, the beautiful crystals form. But in the glass that's full of, you know, negativity and like I hate you, these kind of really aggressive words, the crystals that are created are completely shapeless and sometimes really not beautiful at all. So the simple glass of water, if you drink it with intention and caring for yourself, can create really important changes in your body on a very cellular level. So if you already have been doing the water, maybe try something. Just really, I really want to focus on the morning because that's where we set our intentions for the day. So really do something that maybe you've been thinking of doing, having a green juice or a smoothie, or something, lighter for breakfast that you've been thinking of doing. So for a smoothie, you can think of, a banana, some berries, some spinach leaves, some soaked seeds, and some kind of a coconut or almond milk, right? So we'll go into some recipes, and I'll be sharing a lot of these different things with you. But whatever it is that you do, try until next week to do on a daily basis something of a nourishment ritual where you really connect with that food as a mechanism of giving yourself this caring, and see it as this ritual that's taking you to the next level. So that's with nourishment. With movement, it's the same concept. So, but with movement, we're going to incorporate something that's, when I talk about movement, it's much more than this physical fitness. So in the old days, what did we do? We moved all the time. And in a way, if you look at at animals, every time an animal goes through some kind of a negative emotion, positive emotion, right? They get stressed, right? That someone, they don't even have the word stress, but it's the same, right? But when they get chased or when, they get scared, they immediately take their emotion out through movement or sound, right? So either they run away or climb that tree, or they make the roaring sound, or shake, right? Have you seen animals shaking? That's something. So the way that we're going to be moving in this program, we're going to be using movement to really connect to the emotion that's in our body in the present moment. And this is it's very healthy because you're first of all, movement is always healthy, right? We know about movement, it's healthy. But on the next level, the movement, when it's connected to your emotion, is healthy because it's allowing that emotion to come out of your body. So it's not causing any negative damages to your body. Because when we allow the emotions to stay in, if you're sad and you don't cry, if you're sad, you don't do anything about it, it stays there. And it's energy, it doesn't go anywhere. So energy will affect your cells. So every time you feel an emotion, try to move with it. And, I really suggest just putting on, the easiest is to put on some music, whatever music you like. And this might sound crazy. So if you're living alone, it's best. If you're not, tell your family members to get out and really just flow with any kind of movement. If you're feeling some kind of a melancholic sadness, just move with your body and try to express it with the movement of your body. if you're feeling anger, you might, do something more aggressive. And, if you need to punch, like you can take a pillow and punch it, right? Because really, guys, I mean, this whole, everything that we, so if we feel, for example, someone makes us angry, what happens? Our body gets tense immediately, right? Without us thinking. And this tenseness, right? This tightness, was projected for our bodies to be able to fight, right? So the fight or flight reaction. So we have to use that in order for it not to be used against us. So in this case, we're going to be allowing the emotion to come out of the body, to express it. And the third reason why it's really beneficial for us is because we will connect to the emotions to understand what is it that's not working for me in this present moment, and like, what do I want for the new you? So you'll say, why am I feeling this? You might not even know what you're feeling until you start moving. And when you set that intention, I'm going to move to allow the emotion to come out of my body. A lot of times we don't know what the emotion is. Something else that I really recommend is, this could be, if you don't like dancing very much and that you don't connect to that, you can do it. It can be even like in the yoga poses or like as you're running, but really set the intention to feel your emotion as you're running, right? To allow the movement to carry that emotion to you, to read what it is that you're not understanding. Another really powerful way, and this is, you can do it before you go to sleep or as you wake up. I've been doing this a lot. So put one hand here on your chest and another on your second chakra. So right, like below your navel, right? So you're going to put your hands like this, and all you're going to do is take a couple of breaths, and just, I really started like falling asleep this way. And it's really allowed me to kind of say, hey body, how are you feeling? What's going on? Also give it kind of a hug, right? It's we're not getting as many hugs as we used to. So this is really important. So it's really about reconnecting with yourself. And the simple, your hands are really powerful mechanisms of feeling, both feeling what's happening in the body and receiving and giving the healing, right? So it's really also training your hands as projectors of energy. So that's another practice you can do. And then in terms of the feel your body, well, that was kind of like a feel your body, but the one that I really want you to focus on is the really low belly breathing, right? And with the hissing that we did. So you can do it also in the morning or before you go to sleep or even during the day. But it's also good when you're really, what's it called? When you're not feeling at your best, just really separate from whatever it is that you're doing. Take a break, sit down, and you can put your hand on your lower belly to really feel where your breath is being directed, and allow the breath to really navigate through your entire body and see how it's feeling, right? Because the breath is what really connects us to the present moment, to our bodies. And it's really healing. Aside from being healing, it's really what activates our parasympathetic response. So most of the time, most people, I mean, this is like fact, like in our modern societies, we're stressed most of the time because we have our sympathetic response activated, right? We're in fight or flight, whatever it may be, when you're in chronic stress. And that's extremely damaging to the bodies. As much as they say, eat well, sleep well, whatever, like stress ends up being the number one killer, because if your body never goes into real rest, and few of us know what real rest really means, we're constantly we're not allowing our body to heal. We're not, like when you're in fight or flight, it's the only systems that are working are focused on this fight or flight. So your extremities are full of, oxygen, but your inner organs, right? So they're responsible for digestion, for immunity, for relaxation, for sexuality, they're all stuck because obviously it's peripheral. It's not as important if you're under a threat. And so that's been kind of the killer of the modern day human being, I believe. So, but breathing and a lot of other things that we will be learning, breathing activates our parasympathetic, the opposite from the sympathetic, the parasympathetic response. And that allows us to really get into deep relaxation. If we do deep breathing, meditation, vibrational exercises that I'll share with you. But and why is this important? I mean, it's important for our health, but it's really also important for understanding what we want from our life, because it connects us to this inner self and inner, finding that inner peace. Doesn't matter like what's happening outside, you're kind of in the middle of the hurricane and you can maintain your peace independent of what's happening. And you're turning on this healing response, because remember, your body doesn't know how to be it's kind of like a switch. You can't be in the middle, like, oh, I'm a little stressed. Normally your body is either on or off. So I really felt that I moved to live in the wilderness for, during the pandemic. And when, like, I think it was day 3 after we moved from the city there, I just had the most amazing sleep. I just woke up and was like, wow, I don't think I've slept like this in years. And it's this type of relaxation that, because there's like this complete silence, the oxygen, right? Everything that's just like, you don't realize how the street noises and the like all the loud things and the television that keeps us up. And it's not something that happens at a conscious level. And that's at the low level stress. And then there's also like other kinds of stress, like people are stressed with their bosses and their partners. And anyways, so really important to both for your health, for your well-being, emotional and mental well-being, and for finding your true self and like what you want from your purpose. It's really important to center yourself and de-stress. They're kind of part of the same. So we're coming close to the end of the hour, but basically it's going to be a lot of different things. Like there's not just one thing we're going to learn, but it's really going to be focused on this idea of allowing change to happen. It's transformation, becoming the butterfly through this really, difficult phase of the cocoon. That really, I think that I see the pandemic as being in the cocoon, We've been in a cocoon for like a year and a half. And I think a lot of us are ready to fly. And so I wanted to help you guys visualize what is it that you want to, what kind of butterfly you want to turn into. Because it's really important to set our intentions instead of, waiting for something to change. And, so we'll be working, both the mind, the body, which I really believe is kind of the anchor for us to really go through this in a really peaceful, pleasurable, enjoyable way. But we'll also be doing a lot of self-caring and healthy living, approaches and things that are really going to make it about creating the new you that's also healthy. And because I don't want, even if you decide that you don't want to create a healthy new you, I won't allow that to happen. Because I'm really passionate about health, and I see health as not as just some kind of it's like the foundation of being happy for me, right? It's the foundation of having energy and doing what you want. It's not even an end goal in itself. It's like the foundation for you to be able to live the life that you want. So we'll be creating the new you, basing it on a healthy foundation. So that's pretty much what I had to share today. I'll be sending you guys some the links for the actual program. They're also on my Instagram. But there's either an option of you signing up for one session if you want to, just try it out, or if you want to do the full month, then there's the monthly price as well. That's if you want to talk to me about since I know a lot of people live in different places, so the exchange rates are different. So most important here is that, whoever is ready for this change, that, you'll have the means to participate in the program. That's most important for me. And I really look forward to having you guys with me. I think it's going to be really fun. Besides from anything, we'll create a fun group of people to work on this together. So thank you for being here. Look forward to seeing you next Monday. And if you have any questions, shoot me an email, send me a text, and contact me on Facebook. Thank you. Have a good night.